Good evening on this December, I want to say 22nd, 2020. The time is 6:50 p.m. and welcome to Aisha's Journeys journal entry. And for this particular entry, I'm going to read to you chapter 5 from my book, The World Sol-Nuul. And this particular chapter pertains to the Sarith-Gar Guild and the position of men who've been taking, this radical prayer in stride. A lot of these men don't even know what their women are praying to. They just know they have to protect them and do what they have to do to keep them happy. And so this is a group of men who are on the bottom end of that spectrum. They're into prostitutes and things like that. And they just have this thing for women who just go beyond their place of being a woman. It just ticks them the wrong way. But this is what this particular chapter is about. And here I go. Chapter 5. Redun-Aw, the secret order of the Sarith-Gar Guild. Love unbecoming. And so did the matters, the respected tributes that live to learn themselves, to be whole and true. The question lingers on why women don't war. Are women of worry? Is it that we die of skirts entirely? A mighty war general at disturbance is of a matter's end. It requires an in-depth search, demanding a cure. Has it happened? Maybe she hasn't any left. Or has she done more to be of and still loses? Maybe she has. Hail thee, army. Hail thee, mighty, mighty. Greed is gracious, but more is gracious enough. It leads and leads us in. Oh, that sarcastic continuum. I bear thee breath. It seems that our blessed leader has warred herself endless. To sickness, I fear. I resist without leading you. I command order. This chaos doubles, triples, and quadruple jumps the chessboard. Fighting, and fighting. Constantly burning through. Getting hotter and hot. Lord, the delirium. She is now a ripping plum inside the black conscience, and her sword sisters aren't tightened. It seems they are in search of power. The Redun-Aw is of mountains that curtains that hang and trim the lives that live there. Helena, the banishment of whores, stood as she fell hard to the ground. There was nothing left to forgive. She had spent her earnings on the forgiving, on those who take her company and then sleep with her. But no more. Now she is to be beheaded for every crime of love that went down in Redun-Aw. Though the war was won, it seems the stain of the fornicated reigned unto a condemnation that separated the betrothed inside her very borders. The crowd began at one, then another and another. The cries of hate began as a whisper, then escalated to a booming chant. Destroy her! She does not belong among us! Elena looked toward the heavens as she accepted the rejection, the open-handed slaps that ran across her face. She didn't flinch as they spat at her, toward her, right on her face. The Redun-Aw guards thrashed her back and forth as they manhandled her. She couldn't walk fast enough. She continuously tripped over her own feet. Elena quietly prayed to herself, hoping that God would hear her out. What is a whore in a city of whores and servants? She knew her sudden condemnation came due to her expensiveness and beauty. She was by far the prettiest maiden around. She was praised for her service and given little extras for her everlasting smile. Our God is woman, has always been woman, will always be woman. And you with your contemptuous judgment toward me, I am what I am, be it whore, friend, wife, sister, or lover. Judge me if I am wrong, but do not judge me because you fear the truth. Elena spat at the ground. You'll pay for this. Forever you'll burn in hell. So be it, guard. I did nothing wrong. The guard pushed Elena to the ground. The crowd quieted as they looked. The guard began slapping her. Elena tried to protect her face, but the guard was too strong. He proceeded to rape her right there in public, in the middle of the city square where all judgments were made. Elena kicked him as hard as she could in the groin as he fell from off of her. Elena tried to run, but only made it a couple of feet as another guard grabbed and restrained her. You will never have me. Ever. You bastard guard. I pray to God that your wife never enjoys your love ever again. Mother. Mother Norga. Elena cried to the heavens, to her mother planet. The crowd became restless as Elena screamed out. Former lovers couldn't contain their love for her. Jealous wives and whores maddened and screeched. Ah! Children began crying and clung to their end. Arthur finally made it to the front of the raging crowd. He could barely see his friend Elena. She was submerged amongst the guards and a few women who managed to grab a hold of her hair and clothing. By the time the guards separated the women from Elena, she was bleeding from cuts and scratches, and her hair was pulled from its tight bun, flowing freely in front of her face. Elena turned and looked. Arthur, look what they do. Look how they treat us. Arthur could see the fear on Elena's face. It was of a certainness that scared the living hell out of him. Elena dropped as hard as she could to her knees, but this time she did not get up. Arthur lost consciousness as Elena's feathered head rolled into his open, dirty hands. The concern I voice to you fills me. Of more importantly, the defense of friendship shall always remain. The strength of life, in direct contact with dying, relives the spirit. Arthur picked up himself as he hugged Elena to his heart. The feverish guard stopped panting as he dropped his bloody sword to the ground. Elena's body lay dead, forthright and green. Arthur his tears ripped from him. And you killed her? Arthur nodded. His tears began telling on all of them. You horrid wolves. Are you so blind at love? Do you hate yourselves, do you? He sobbed, crying out. Elena, my beloved Elena. Arthur allowed himself to cry. He allowed the crowd to back away from him, to question the very wrong decision they had made, the hateful decision that alters the life, to be gone or something. The guard that had been playing God over Elena was now dragging away her body. The scowl of brokenness just riddled on his face. To him, Elena had never looked more stunning, more defined, and less frequent. Just broken. My heart is broken. I don't know how to tell you of her beautifulness again. Why, God? Why, Elena? Do you know? Are these my teeming tears? Am I thankful for this certain love? Uncertain of this blind love will we ever see? Sarith-Gar walked away low, his loveless heart crawling below him. His sight of the world was gone, just gone. This is a prayer, a poem I wrote called Thou Wast Either. Thou wast either. Thou wast either. Excuse me. Man or coward of bloom, thou'st I know that thou shalt not, whether thou knowest or not. Thou wast either. Take hold of me and just me. Fisting whores come and give bread, and there are wives for them. Women to this day have seen their skulls run. The massive death, oh, that sting as the skull runs there. Thou wast either. There's a song within the cracking, a forcefulness, a maddening that bruises the tender breast, a soft song of cry, to cry where there is no man or child, just war and warlords. Thou wast either, take or give. Thou wast either, take or give. Thou wast either. Portions are at bay. Portions of thouest woman, portions that ours take, portions divided from wars. Those parts that resembled love now are apart and alone. To separate woman from women is to leave the woman alone. Thou wast either, I do not know. As toward the direction you go, as toward the reflections, thou wast either. May you know what I haven't known. May you reach the dear soul, encouraging sleep. Asleep, thou wast either. I've grown to know you, and this worry of women to pursue, I do not chase. Thou wast either. May we count with our own. May our crowns bring us home. May there be peace where we roam. Thou wast either. Where there is no between us, where there is no aching, where the black conscience stops. Oh, thou wast either. Kindly, could you speak? The Sarith-Gar that wars toward me, the heat and hate of men that rape, thou wast either. They thirst for thirst, They thirst for our death. That means there is nothing left. Thou wast either, whether below or above me. Thou wast either the highest height and ground. Then give us worth. Give us word to fight with. Let our battleground stand with us. Protect us from the beaten. Thou wast either. Oh, thou wast either. I need you at an everlasting more. I need you where I dare not go. Thou wast either. Thou that forces me to take. That forces to scream there. Thou wast either. For I am so apart, alone and without. Thou wast either. The secret order of the Sarith-Gar guild began at once, that very night. Elena's body hadn't burned for long before these angered husbands threw her to the flies. A secret location somewhere near the Red Dune all limits, somewhere caved and enclosed as to nothing. Sarith-Gar, torch in hand, spoke out and threw. Unto a night I am, unto a colossal night pounded upon our crystal stars. Men, we do not sit our still. Did we not hush while our women became men? Monsters. And now I am free to ash, free to water our fires, flying fires, yes. Our women, our terrible women, led by the shadow of our hands, fighting one another, and another against another. Sisters, wives, and mothers engraved by sisters, wives, and mothers, and I am not to worry? Running on our liege under this feudalism, destroying the birth of our countryside with wayward whore fun. What right does a woman have to oppose the judgment of a king? Those women deserve death. Did they not bring that realm of disease and confusion upon us with their prayers to God? Woman God? Men adhere. This war was all because of a woman's belief in God, a cause to stand up and be proud, to be just and true, to be worth slaughter in war is not the price I paid for my lady's hand, for my wife. My wife? Sarith-Gar roared. My wife befriends these war women, these women who call themselves all women, and I cannot forgive that boast. The all-woman war. The first that stood for all of its kind, all of its thick and kind. The definition of women taking up swords to fight for the cause of a sinner, a blood queen, our foe. Men hear thee, Sarith-Gar, I, the guard that thwarted the flame of Elena. Whistle, young horns, and click your tongue, for her wine was so, so sweet. But thou wast hunger. Is it for whores or whores of this wrong time? And I say wrong, because these women were allowed to wrong our spirits with this warring womanly. Sarith-Gar laughed, just spitting out. I can barely pronounce this hypocrisy. The men of the guild agreed, just hissing their laughter. Oh, as I tempt, slow and slow, I give order to this guild, preciseness when I critique, because men, these women are now like men. They're dangerous and swift. They have sent our very spirit lords into hiding, and we are in a shallow cusp of our own selfishness and our own wrongdoings. I call upon thee to form this guild, and within this guild will empower the strength needed to destroy this warring spirit that is conquering the gardens of our women. I call upon thee to form this guild in secrecy and honor. No one must know how and why we come and go. We'll refute this devil of all devils. Sarith-Gar laughed once more, this time hinting the wolf's blood on his canines and the red thunder in his eyes. We'll destroy these women until they are destroyed. And by destruction, men, I mean completely, defined by its very merciless meaning. The Sarith-Gar guild circled and prayed, giving their cause a righteous good night before they departed to their respective homes and families. General Ithagale paced back and forth, backward in thought and command, her tongue scraped of nourishment, burning with flashy sick war. Her jaws had cracked and trembled beneath the leaking roar of the conscience. She couldn't make sense of any way forward. All seemed to collapse upon her side, siding upon her vision and just purring her war in this. Now